change your life? Like just say back in the day, you probably didn't drink water the way you do now, right? You probably drank a lot of sugary drinks.
When I was younger, I did for sure.
And so then when you like switched to water, what kind of impact did that have on your life?
100% better. Because what it was is I saw some news story. I'm like one of those weirdos. I'm like, what? Like, you know, those shocking facts? It was a news story and like, it was like a Bill Nye guy, like not literally Bill Nye, but like a scientist, doctory person. And they were like, 80% of the population walks around in a dehydrated state at all times. And that may not be the exact one, but it's an absurdly high number. And I was like, what? Like, that can't be real. And then so I Googled it and then I looked at a few different ones. I'm like, that's 100% real. Granted, different levels of dehydration, but it's pretty rare that someone is hydrated. And so then I started thinking, not only am I not drinking enough water, I am drinking things like alcohol that dehydrate me. Yes. And so it's like, wait a minute. And then so I don't drink sodas at all now. Randomly, like I have, like, but it's not, and I eat ice cream. I'm not saying that I'm perfect when it comes to the drinks that I put in my body, but I don't even crave soda anymore. It's almost like I started thinking like every time I go to a restaurant and get a soda, I also get a water. Like that's for a reason. It's because the soda is draining me a little bit. I think I want it, but I don't really. But yeah, and so I started drinking water more naturally to the point now where I prefer water like over anything else. Too. Yeah.
But I mean, even if you go back to the school age, I don't think you're even allowed to like drink. Like, I mean, I don't like. Okay, go to the
definitely not cool
fountain.
Huh?
I mean, like you know what I mean. Like you go to the drinking fountain, but how much water are you getting in the day?
3 seconds. Do you remember that? 1, 2, 3, go. Did they ever do that? I wonder if they still do that. 1, 2, 3, next. Like, what? They literally restricted us to 3 seconds.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And then if you have lunch or whatever, you'll have your like little milk carton or whatever, and that's what 8 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
So how much? I mean, and then I think about even in high school, like I think there were vending machines, but did I have like a soda for the entire day long? Because that's not even
multiple.
I think I only had one.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
and so I'm like, but you're also a bigger person.
Well, I wasn't when I was younger.
Oh yeah. I also like. I told you, like, I don't like to have to pee every, you know, like when you're in class or whatever, and you're like.
That is the downfall of liking water, by the way, is you definitely pee a lot more. Because you can't, it's just.
But that's like a 1% change. I mean, maybe it's a bigger percent, but it feels like a 1% because it's not that hard to start increasing your water.
So what would you suggest to someone I know a lot of people that only drink sodas, and I forget because I don't drink them. I've gone over to people's houses and I'm like, I've seen them crack like 2 or 3 since I was there. Mm-hmm. I'm like, they must have had a bunch of before I even got here. And then you look over to their trash and you see stacks of cola 12 packs. So what would you tell someone that came to you? How do you get someone to slowly move towards water? Like, would you say like drink 2 less sodas a day? Like what is even the method there?
Well, I think first I'd want to know because it's like you want to get them onto water and you're like, well, what is it? Does water not taste good? You know, like what is the thing about water? And so if it's like a taste thing, then I would probably, because like one of the things I do in the morning is I'll drink 3 glasses of water right away.
Okay.
And that helps. Like I'm already, halfway towards my goal of getting all the water I need for the day. And it gives me more energy that I don't even need coffee half the time because I just feel really good. Sometimes I'll even go for a walk and then I'm ready for like a good smoothie or protein shake because it just sets me up on a good set. But if it's somebody who's like, well, I don't like the taste of water, then we're probably going to have to do something like put lemon or something in it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I wouldn't have them cut out the soda. Like, I think it would probably be like, well, what is the amount you can commit to? Like, would they want to only cut 1 down a day? We would go that way. If they're like super ambitious and it's like, I'm going to cut it all out, we would do that. But generally going from 0 to 100 doesn't
usually doesn't work out. Yeah. It just builds this like red button effect.
Yeah, so that it's like you got to be ready for that moment when they kind of go back to the soda, and it's like you don't want them to feel like shamed or you failed. Let's just look at why you wanted the soda at that time. Mm-hmm. Like what happened there? Because so the times that I crave soda, it's really weird because I don't really like soda anymore, and I crave the syrup, which is weird because I'm not a big syrup person. I never have been, but it's when I'm playing tennis.
Really?
Because I'm dehydrated.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you crave sugar when you're dehydrated. It's really interesting. Like if you actually stop and drink some water, in those moments, and it's not always the case, but in those moments, I would say it's a high number for me. It's like 90% of the time when I'm craving sugar, I'm actually dehydrated.
I'm also blown away by the amount that water helps my appetite. Like there's a lot of times where I think I'm hungry and I'm like, oh, let me have this water and I'll figure out what I'm eating. And then I'm not hungry because I'm like, oh, I was just thirsty.
Exactly. Yes.
But it helps with like, it makes me feel full. And then when I first started trying to eat better, I know what helped me too was not all sparkling waters are good, right? I know that a lot of them have aspartame, but some of them like Zevia's will have stevia, or I had these other ones that didn't have aspartame at all. It had something else in it, but just the bubbles like made me feel full. So I was like really like prioritizing when I did eat the other stuff, the good ones, and eating better portions and eating in a different manner where I can stay under my calories. And I know the sparkling waters helped a lot. Now water does the same thing that sparkling water used to do. So I don't drink them at all. But it did make me feel a little bit full at first. So it was helpful there.
Well, and like sparkling water is a good one too, and you can add little fruits to it and really make yourself feel fancy, like as a replacement for the soda. Like there are a bunch of things that people can do to just increase the water intake, because it is funny how like your coffee, like you were talking about alcohol, if you're aiming for like your 8 cups and you have a cup of coffee in the morning, that kind of takes away a cup. So you kind of have to have another cup of water to get yourself to the 8 cups.
So is coffee dehydrating?
Caffeine is.
Caffeine is?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
You don't crave water with your coffee.
No, I don't.
You may now.
I that's one of my vices for sure. I never drink coffee. I don't know what happened. Like one day I was like, I think we were watching a movie or something, and I was like, we should like drink coffee. Like we should do that. They're doing it in the movie. And me and Laura bought a coffee pot, and it's downhill from there. Like she stopped. Well, she drinks coffee now still, but she doesn't use creamer at all. She does coffee, and she actually puts a protein in the coffee, and apparently it's very good. I haven't tried it yet. So she doesn't do it at all. But I am very guilty of still drinking coffee. I tried healthier ways, and I can't help it. I still put creamer in it. I know it's bad for me. I know I shouldn't do it. Probably a terrible way to start my day, but it's like a routine at this point. But I didn't know that it was dehydrating. That makes sense. But caffeine is also helpful. Caffeine itself is a helpful fat burner, right? Well, hair's driving me crazy. Keep seeing my periphery, like my husky hair. Thanks, Zoe. What was I asking? Oh yeah, the coffee. So it's dehydrating, but caffeine is also kind of a fat burner, right? What is this deal with coffee? Because I've heard some health people say coffee's good, and some people say coffee's bad.
I think the worst problem with coffee is the stimulant part of it. Like it can bring you into that anxious state. And a lot of times we make bad choices with coffee. Like actually, like you want your fat in it. Like, so if your creamer is fat, that's okay. Like it's not bad. Like when you start out your day and you don't want to kind of start out on a bad track, you want to make sure you have your fiber, your fat, and your protein. Because a lot of times what we do with a cup of coffee is we have like a muffin or some sugary donut or something. So now we're setting ourselves up for when it comes to lunchtime. I may have made a wonderful salad, but because I started out so crappy, I am going to actually probably order out.
Yeah.
You know,
so keep like the trend going.
So I just try to make sure, like, I mean, sometimes just throwing a little piece of butter in my coffee if I'm not, because I don't do milk. I will do like.
You put butter in your coffee?
Have you ever tried it? You got to try it.
You have to explain that one to me. What's the, just the taste? It tastes good?
Yeah, it's got a good taste.
Is butter good for you though?
Butter can be like, it can be like a healthy fat. Yeah. If you do get butter, not like the margarine and stuff. And right now I'm doing like the almond. It's like a butter made from almonds. Like I'm doing the dairy free. So like, yeah, I do a lot of nut milks and stuff in my coffee.
I see what you're saying.
None of them are as delicious as creamer.
Yeah, I always go back to that one. I even went to like an almond creamer, and it's just not the same. I want the sugary one that tastes like Cocoa Pebbles or whatever. Like I can't help it. It'll work for a little bit. I'll trick myself into doing. At one point I did. It was stevia and like agave. I don't know what it was. I tricked myself into having something that was way less calories. And I was like, yeah, it's good. Because I did the thing where I'm like, if I just say it's good like 10 times, I'll start believing that. If you smile, you'll actually become happy eventually. It's like one of those moments. And so I kept drinking. I remember thinking that. I think I did like 2 months with that. And I'm like, yeah, this is so much better. And then the thing where you said like, I could have a coffee. Like I've been doing so well. And then I had regular creamer. I'm like, oh, this is way better. I tricked myself. That stuff's disgusting. And I couldn't go back to it because I had already retasted the creamer. That's one of my vices I need to work on, along with hot chips. But
guys, this is Bobby, and Bobby here has a debilitating disease known only as cotton insides. And for one subscribe, for going down below and hitting that subscribe button, you can give Bobby here his first real heart. Do you have a real heart? Well, then hit subscribe.